Now, it's not about making gay marriage legal. It's legal in every single state. That was always their big fight. No, now it's about making your kids gay. Why else? No, why else would you want to have two dudes or two women kissing in a Disney film? What is the agenda? To expose them to it or to increase the ranks of the LGBTQ community? What is the process? People were gay before this sort of nonsense was happening. So why exactly are you doing this?
So there's obviously a lot about the world and sexuality and pretty much everything that Charlie Kirk fundamentally doesn't understand. And he's demonstrating quite a bit of it there while freaking out about the fact that there are some who would like to see more diversity and representation in Disney movies. That's what it's about. You might watch that clip and think, oh my God, what is Disney doing that they're producing more gay people? No, they would like to see more characters that are gay in these movies. And Charlie Kirk, who has never once in his life had an absence of people who look like him in movies, potential role models and things like that, he has always been able to take that for granted. Now finds the idea that someone who lives a life in a variety of ways that might be different than his would also want to see representation in things like Disney movies. And furthermore, he believes that if you were to have a same-sex kiss in a movie, you would only do that to make the viewers gay. You know, how for decades they've put straight kisses in movies to make people straight. And it's been a plight. A lot of gay people have accidentally watched straight kisses in movies and they weren't gay anymore. And it was really devastating for the community for a long time. No, it's obviously nonsense. I don't know which is more likely when it comes to Charlie Kirk, that he's actually dumb enough to believe that that's why Disney would do this, that that's why activists would push for it, or that that's even possible, that by watching a cartoon, you can become gay. Does he believe that if he were to watch the movie on repeat for a few hours, he would become gay? Let me reassure you, Charlie Kirk, that's not how any of this actually works. But they love this, Cenk. They love it because it gets their base fired up against the LGBTQ community. That has been their go-to strategy for decades and decades. And they especially love attacking the LGBTQ community in regards to Disney because it gives them a chance to seem like they're attacking a corporation. They don't actually care. They don't want any higher taxes for Disney. They don't want regulations on Disney, but they like the idea that suddenly they get to pretend that they're populists or something.
Yeah, so they have two different issues with Disney. One is the slight scenes where you kind of could tell that someone is in the LGBTQ community, but that barely happens. You know why that barely happens? The Disney employees and writers just recently outed the company because they said, no, we write those scenes, and then executives censor the living crap out of it. Yeah. And they'll take out 90% of the scene, 95% of the scene, or the whole scene over and over and over again. So Disney actually does do what Charlie Kirk wants. They just don't do it 100%. So he's like, no, censor all of it. I don't want to see any gay people. And then, by the way, then when you challenge them, okay, so you hate gay people, they're like, no, I don't. You don't want anyone even seeing them. You don't want anyone to know that they even exist. But you don't hate them? Shut up. Be honest for once in your life. Now, the second issue they have with Disney is the Don't Say Gay bill in Florida. Disney actually didn't have much of a problem with that one either until they got their hand caught in the cookie jar and people realized, oh, they're funding the Republicans that are passing that bill, okay? And then at that point, Disney was like, oh, we are for gay people, but we're not gonna do anything about this. And then their employees were super mad, their customers were super mad, and they realized we're gonna lose money because it turns out we also have gay customers and gay employees, and this is not good for our business. And there's a lot more of them, by the way, than stupid, insane, zealot right-wingers. If there was more zealot right-wingers, trust me that a corporation who wants to maximize profit would serve them instead. And in a lot of ways they do, but the more watered down version, as they censor all their movies so they don't ruffle right-wing feathers, right? So in the Don't Say Gay bill, John, to your point, number one, Disney finally had to come out and say, okay, we are not in favor of this bill. Is everybody happy now? Everybody happy, right? And so the right wing is livid over it. No, how dare you, Disney? You must hate gays just like we hate gays. In reality, did you hear the most important part of the story? Disney is funding politicians. Why do you think they're funding politicians, whether they're Republicans or Democrats? They're funding them not for some social agenda. No corporation gives a damn about that. No, they're funding them to get tax breaks. And we did this story earlier. And they've gotten hundreds of millions of dollars from the hardworking taxpayers of Florida, even though they're an enormously profitable corporation. Why? Because they legally bribed Republicans and some Democrats. But do you ever see the Charlie Kirks of the world complaining about that corruption? No way. Yep. They love that corruption because the same people who bribed those politicians are the ones that funded Charlie Kirk's organization.
Yep. Yeah, you just demonstrated the difference between left-wing populism and right-wing populism. Left-wing populism actually wants corporations to pay their fair share and have logical, reasonable regulations. Right-wing populists use culture war issues to distract from the dominance that corporations have in our culture. That's all it is. It's the same xenophobic, homophobic, misogynistic, Islamophobic BS that establishment Republicans use, but they occasionally use the term elites a little bit more. And what is happening here is obviously a scam. What Charlie Kirk is participating in is a con job, but it's a con job that's kind of two cons nested in one. First, they want you, whether it's Charlie Kirk or Ben Shapiro or Tucker Carlson or whatever, they want you to disarm yourself. The narrative they put out is corporations should not bow down to political pressure, but that is objectively not what they actually want. They just don't want them to bow down to your political pressure. They do want them to censor those scenes. They want them to bow down to right-wing political pressure. They want corporations to give them what they want, and they're very clear about this, not just going into this debate, but coming out of it. Because Ben Shapiro has said, if Disney starts having LGBTQ characters, we're not gonna buy their movies anymore. Dave Rubin is gonna, for the third time or whatever, cancel his Disney Plus. They're gonna try to put pressure on them to get Disney to deliver for them. It's just that you are not supposed to try to get corporations to recognize and support your values. Well, they're trying to produce an asymmetric, uneven battlefield. You get to decide whether you're gonna walk into that trap. But more importantly, it's the meta thing that we've been talking about. Charlie Kirk and Ben Shapiro don't care about any of this. Maybe Ben Shapiro a little bit. He's a religious zealot, a religious bigot. He believes this dogma, but they don't go, they don't stay up late at night worried about what's in the next Mulan. That's not actually what they're worried about, and that's certainly not why their jobs, their careers were created by the wealthy. It is to protect these corporations, sometimes even by attacking them on culture war stuff. But none of these attacks, no matter how passionate the right might get about it, no matter how much activism you might see on the right about the trans community or abortion or whatever, you know what that'll never produce? Is a single dime more in taxes on any of these corporations or on the wealthy. It gets people fired up and then pointed in the direction the wealthy would like them to be, which is as far away from their wallets as possible. And so it's a con on multiple levels. We need to be aware of it so that we don't support it. And at the same time, though, we do have to acknowledge that culture war issues are BS in that the right doesn't really believe it, but they're not BS in that they're actual victims to all of this stuff. We do need to protect these communities while also then redirecting the conversation to those who have overwhelming economic and political power in America.
Although there was one funny moment that came out of all of this anti-LGBTQ fervor among the right wing, when Dave Rubin asked Ben Shapiro to bake him a cupcake, and Shapiro was like, "No." Okay, and so Dave is and then Dave was like, "Should I cancel my Disney Plus account, Ben, because they're too friendly to gays?" Dude, you're gay. Wake up. Okay, so I think that look, I'm having fun with it because Dave Rubin is so pathetic, but I think he went to cancel his Disney Plus on other things that he was outraged by. So and he's their token, he's their mascot. Hey, look, we have a gay, like Trump said, I have a black, right? So anyways, one more serious thing about Charlie Kirk. He said this would expose the kids, and whether it's movies or the schools in Florida, it would expose them to gay people. And like, tell me that you're a bigot without telling me you're a bigot, okay? They're constantly exposed to straight people. Is that a problem? You never found that to be a problem. Why is it a problem if they know just the existence of gay people? No, it's because you're a hateful person who hates everybody in the LGBTQ community. So just, do your goose stepping and put your, whatever, logos that you're interested in, swastika or whatever, on. So just be clear, You're filled with hatred for this community. And guess what? It's not the old days. And maybe Democrats who are politicians and leaders cower. And it was like a big deal for Biden and Obama to come out in favor of gay marriage, like in 2013, 40 years too late, right? Yeah. But for us progressives, we fight back. And so, yeah, okay, you hate gay people, and we're here to defend them. And we're here to say, yes, they exist. Yes, they have every right to exist. Yes, they have every right to the same exact rights we all have as Americans. And you're not gonna take that away on our watch. We're gonna fight you. We're gonna call you the bigot, homophobe, the hateful person that you are. And then, okay, let's meet in the battlefield of ideas. You're on the side of hate. We're on the side of equality. And we have the United States Constitution to back us up. You say they should not have equal rights. We say they should have equal rights. Okay, I'll take the side of justice every time. And we're all gonna stick together. We're gonna fight back against you guys. And then by the end, everyone will know, oh yeah, if you're a right winger, you're a monster. And the rest of us want nothing to do with you.
Thanks for watching The Young Turks, really appreciate it. Another way to show support is through YouTube memberships. You'll get to interact with us more. There's live chat emojis, badges. You got emojis of me, Anna, John, JR. So those are super fun. But you also get playback of our exclusive member-only shows and specials right after they air. So all of that, all you gotta do is click that join button right underneath the video. Thank you.